Hello again, everyone. My name is Renzie, and once again, I'm going to be showing off some combo lines for a deck I put together recently. This deck, which I've dubbed Predasmith, is, as its name suggests, Predaplants and Fiendsmiths. Because Fiendsmiths can be put in almost anything. As with my Speedroid Fiendsmith deck, I'm going to be showing off full Fiendsmith combo, of course, with the fullest combo I could think of for Predaplants, as well as a few just potential full combo lines without Predaplant and Fiendsmith use. Because you don't always get Fiendsmith combo. So here's our opener. Another I create this, for a few of these combo lines, I put together the opener myself and just handpick it to make sure it's a full combo. But it's not like the optimal full combo, of course. Now, some cards in the Predaplant line lock you in to a fusion summoning, so you want to try and get Fiendsmith done first, if you can. So we're going to just go ahead and do full Fiendsmith combo immediately. Discard Engraver, add Tract, add Lurie, discard Lurie, Lurie summon Lurie, link off Lurie into Requiem, tribute self, summon out Lacrima pitch an Engraver shuffle back Lurie, summon himself, Requiem equip to Lacrima, make Necro Quip, overlay into DDD Wave High King Caesar. There you go, full Fiendsmith combo. Now on to the stuff that's actually needs to be explained. Well, can be explained because it's not guaranteed you'll know it, but you'll probably understand it because it's not super complicated. You'll set Predaplant. I'm calling this one Froggy because it looks like a frog. I am not reading these scientific names. So they're either getting a nickname or a shortened version of their name. Next, we activate Predapractice, special summoning out Predaplant Orphis Scorpio, who I'm going to be referring to as just Scorpio. And then we get to add a Predaplant card to our hand. We add Predaplanting. Next, with the effect of Orphis Scorpio, because he was summoned, we can send a Predaplant from our hand to the grave and special summon out another Predaplant monster. We're going to pitch Biplisp in order to special summon out, we're called this one Clammy, because I cannot read that. Clammy Sundu, or something like that. We're calling this one Clammy. When Biplisp is sent to the graveyard, it can add a Predaplant from our deck to our hand, but only monsters. We'll add Predaplant Triansis, who's the other Pendulum Scale. We then set that Predaplanting face down and activate the effect of Predaplant Clammy. When he's face up on the field, you can fusion summon. So we're going to contact fuse him and Scorpio into Predaplant Ambulo. Ambulo Melodis. We're calling this Ambulo. It looks kind of like a Bulbasaur. Well, a fucked up Bulbasaur at least. When this card is fused summoned, you can add a Predap card from your deck to your hand. It's just Predap card because, well, we got Predaplanting, Predapractice. With this, we're going to add Predaplanet, the Continuous Trap. We then activate the other Pendulum Scale. The Frog one, when it's in the Pendulum Scale, we can fusion summon. And Triantis, when he's in the Pendulum Scale, you can use Pendulum Scaled monsters as fusion materials, so I can fuse these two together. I then set Predaplanting, and activate the effect of our Frog, fusing it with Ambulo to make Predaplant Dragostapelia. Then, with the effect of Triantis, because he was in the Pendulum Scale and is now in the face-up extra deck, I can put a counter on all face-up monsters I want. Now, because I control a monster with a Predator counter, I can special summon Biplisp from our grave. However, he will be banished when he leaves the field. I then pass turn. Immediately, I flip over Predaplanet. Every time if a monster with a Predator counter leaves the field, I get to add a Predap card from my deck to my hand. I then activate Predaplanting. By sending a Predaplant monster from my deck to the grave, all monsters in the field get a Predator counter. I send Biplisp. We send Biplisp. Biplisp's effect adds another Triantis from our deck to our hand. And then, you know, the bot passes turn. We draw the frog, which is pretty nice. We set Triantis in the pendulum scale. Use the effective engraver, shuffling back the other engraver to summon himself. Then we equip him with Requiem. Now we pen summon out the frog, because it's funny, before activating the effect of the frog in our scale, fusing the frog on field, Triantis in the pendulum scale, and Biplus on field, which is 3 dark monsters on field to make the big boy Predaplant Triphiovertum. When he's fusion summoned, and as always, he has a continuous effect. He has his attack points are 3,000 plus the combined total attack of all monsters with a predator counter. So he gets the 2,800 from Caesar, 2,700 from Dragostapelia, the 400 from Kozaki, all added to his 3,000. However, if they get 2 counters, it does not double. He only gets it from 1 counter count. Next, because Biplus had a counter, we get the effect of Predaplant, and we chain off the effect of Triantis, placing a counter on everything. We also get the effect of Predaplanting engraved. Because we fusion summoned, we can banish a trap, destroy a monster our opponent controls. Or is it a card? I forget. We destroy a card on the field. So we destroy Kozaki. Then, with the effect of Triantis, we put a counter on Engraver. However, he doesn't get the 2,400 because it's original attack, so he only gets 1,800. With Predaplant, we add back Triantis, and then... why do we get that? Oh yeah, because we fuse the Biplus. We get Clammy. We now normal summon Clammy, and set the pendulum scale. Next, we will fuse our Clammy and Triantis Engrave on the field to make Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. We activate the effect of Triantis again, putting a counter on that Starving Venom. So our big old Triphiovertum, 13,100 attack points. And we punch our opponent in the face with that. This next line I'm going to show you all is the same exact line, but instead of summoning out Wave High King, we summon out the Fiendsmith fusion monster. I forget his name. Desire. So yeah, it's the exact same combo. So I'm just going to let this play out for y'all to watch. Well, if I right click, I can pause. Make sequence fuse that. Then we blink off sequence and Zyway to make Agnum Day. Agnum Day, when Link summoned, can take a Fiendsmith Engrave, special summon it, and equip himself to it. So now we have, in one effect, negate 3 face-up cards. We then equip sequence to it. Because he's equipped with Agnum Day, he gains 600 attack equal to the he gains attack equal to the combined total of Link monsters. Well, their combined Link ratings, so 5 in this case times 600. I believe he also gives it piercing. Yeah, it inflicts piercing too. Next, we set half the scale with the frog, activate Predaplast, summon out Orphis, add Predaplanting, pitch Biplus with Orphis, summon out Clammy, Biplus add Triantis. You've seen this. Summon out Ambulo add Planet. We set Planet there, because we're not going to have this open. We summon out Dragostapelia, place counters on both, set, Predaplanting, summon out Biplus, activate Predaplant. And then, of course, again, Predaplanting would send another Biplus, place counters on everything. Same old combo. Next is in line without Fiendsmith. So right off the bat, we activate Predapractice again. Same thing, add Predaprime Fusion this time. Get Clammy. Biplus add the frog. Clammy's effect to fuse into Ambulo. Ambulo add the other pendulum scale Triantis. We set our scales. Then we use the effect of the frog to fusion summon both scales into Predaplant Chimera Rafflesia. Doesn't do anything immediately. Then we activate the effects of both pendulum scales. The frog, when he's sent to the face-up extra deck, can add another face-up Predaplant pendulum monster from our extra deck to our hand. So it gives us back Triantis, and then Triantis places counters on these two. Next, because we have a counter on the field, we can summon Biplis from our grave. Now we activate Polymerization. Fusing... Who do we fuse? We use the Predaplant Cordyceps in hand and the Chimera Phallasia to make Dragostapelia. Next, we set the pendulum scale again with Triantis, and activate Predaprime Fusion, fusing Predaplant Ambulo, Biplisp, and Triantis together to make Predaplant Trifiovertum. He's a big beat stick, and once per turn, if your opponent special summons a monster card from the extra deck, you can negate the summon and destroy that monster. So it was not special summoned correctly anymore, so cards that say must be fusion summoned cannot be brought back from the grave, because the summon was negated. And the resources are still spent, and it's not put back in the extra deck, so they can't summon it again, if they're only running one copy. Which is pretty useful. Now, Predaprime Fusion is basically a super poly if it was shit. Yeah, it's still a quick play spell. However, you need a Predaplant monster on the field, can only be a dark fusion monster, and while yes, it can use from either field, 2 of those materials have to be dark monsters you control. You can only use... So if you're not using 2 of yours, you can't super poly. So yes, you can make Trifiovertum with this, because the Predator counters turn monsters into a dark level 1. You can't just make anything using their field. So it's not as good as Super Poly. But it's a searchable Super Poly. Then we use Triantis' effect, put counters on everything. Dragostapelia, his quick effect, you can put a counter on a monster your opponent controls once per turn, and as long as Drago's on the field, monsters with Predator counters that your opponent controls have their effects negated. Well, their activated effects at least. So he's kind of like a Fiendsmith Desires of negation. Just quick effect, target a face-up thing, negate it. And your opponent's monsters counters also add to the attack points of Triff. Another thing, if Triff is to go to the graveyard, as long as there's a Predator counter on the field, he can special summon himself back. Well, a Predator counter in your opponent's field. However, he comes back in defense position. During the standby phase of the turn after Chimera Phallasia goes to the graveyard, you can add a Polymerization. You can either add a Polymerization or a Fusion spell from your deck to your hand. With this, we add Super Poly. But it's during the next turn, so I can't just add Super Poly and set it. Anyways, that was line 3. Here's another line. This one's similar. I'm not going to re-explain the same effects again. I'm going to explain anything new we do. So, add the frog and all that. Did not mean to click the extra deck. Set our scales. Make Chimera. Counter those things. Set planning. Biplis. Set half the scale. Play Polymerization to make Dragostapelia. Dragostapelia add Super Poly because we run this since it's good. Place a counter on that buddy boy with that. Planning, send Biplis, of course, to get this fella. Now, for turn 2 of this, Drew Imperm. Imperm's not needed. We summon out Clammy, use the effect of our other Biplis to special summon itself. Clammy will choose the Biplis himself and Triantis to make Trifiovertum. Everything gets a counter now. Then we Predaplant Fusion to make a new boy. The newest monster in this deck, actually. Well, for the archetype. Starving Venom Predaplant Fusion Dragon. He's always treated as a Predaplant. Once per turn, when a card or effect is activated, quick effect, tribute 1 monster on either field, negate the activation. You don't destroy the monster, however, you can tribute. Let's say you don't have Drago. Well, actually, you'd want to use this to spell negates, because you want to have Drago on the field with this guy, because, well, yes, you could have other ways to put counters. Drago just blanket negates everything with a counter on it that's on your opponent's field. You cannot put counters on spells or traps. So with Predapower, Starving Venom, you can tribute a already negated monster on field, send it to the graveyard, and negate a spell they control. So you can really remove their board. However, you want to be careful with that, of course, because so many things nowadays have graveyard effects. But anyways, then we special out Trifia Vertum, because Predator counter. Then we punch them with Predapower Fusion Dragon, and punch them in the face with Dragostapelia, followed by using Super Polymerization. To wrap this up, we pitch Infinite Impermanence, summon out Classic Starving Venom, finish the game. And that's the other idea of a combo line. Of course, this deck isn't perfectly consistent. Those are handcrafted, hand-picked combos. But what this deck is consistent in is you're always guaranteed to get Dragostapelia from my testing. There's like there are a couple of hands that don't do anything, but as long as you open 2 names, like either just actually 2 monster names for Predaplants, you're basically guaranteed to get Dragostapelia. However, we are running multiple copies of Polymerization to make sure of that and stuff like that. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing the silly deck I put together, and I hope it gives you ideas for decks of your own. Because that's what I love about Yu-Gi-Oh! There are so many wrong ways to put a deck together. So many ways to do fun jank. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope to see you all again. As always, my Discord server, the deck list over on YGO Pro for this deck of mine, my Linktree so you can go find me at other places will be linked in the description. Bye-bye.